Good evening, everyone, and welcome into the ninth episode of the Off the Reins podcast. My name is Ryan Messer, and the UFL has officially kicked off. As you guys saw, we were in Arlington covering the game for you guys. We have a lot to cover. There was all kinds of stars down there. Troy Aikman, uh, Dwayne Johnson, of course, Coach Prime. It was just good to see all those guys. It was so cool. It did not disappoint. But before we get too far, make sure you guys are following us on all of our social handles. The season is now underway, and we are trying to bring you the latest and greatest from the Stallions as soon as it is made available by the league. So make sure you got those notifications turned on so you don't miss a thing. Now let's jump right on into it with the Birmingham Sports Brief, brought to us this week by Blue Spring Living Water. Starting off in the NBA G League, where the Birmingham Squadron closed out their regular season with a couple of games this week. First, the Squadron took on the OKC Blue on Wednesday, where Dyson Daniels and EJ Liddell both posted 22 points. And Jalen Crutcher was hitting it 50% from behind the arc. But however, that wasn't enough as the Squadron fell 115 to 99. Finally, the Squadron came back home to take on the Cleveland Charge on Saturday. With all five starters scoring in double digits, the Squadron closed out the season with a 123 to 107 victory at Legacy Arena. And Birmingham closed out the season as the 10th place in the Eastern Conference of the NBA G League. Swapping over to the Birmingham Bulls of the Southern Professional Hockey League, we officially had our last home stand this weekend of the 2023 to 2024 regular season. This weekend, we had a pair of games against the Macon Mayhem. On Friday, the Bulls were able to get a 3-1 win at Pelham Civic Center. And on Saturday, they had a special guest to present to drop the puck, as Stanley from the Birmingham Stallions was there. The game was really tight, though, with Macon scoring quickly in the first, and then the Bulls answering with a goal in both the second and the third. However, Macon came back and tied it up with 2 seconds left in regulation. Macon wound up eventually winning in overtime with a score to 3-2. Switching gears over to the Birmingham Legion of the USL. The Legion took yet another loss this time against the Louisville City FC, losing 5-0 in full time. But let's not let these losses get us down, because our home opener is this Sunday at 4 p.m. So after the Stallions watch party at Back 40, make sure you guys head over to Protective Stadium to support the Legion in their home opener as they face London United FC. Switching it over to the MILB, the Birmingham Barons released their promotional schedule this week. They're changing the $2 Tuesdays from 2 years ago, and Thrifty Tuesdays that was last year, to now it is Taco Tuesdays. They are also keeping the Wet Nose Wednesdays, where you can bring your four-legged friends to the game. Thirsty Thursdays, where they have drink specials during the game. And then Friday night fireworks are back, along with Family Sundays, where the kids can run the bases after the game. Oh, did we mention that the season starts this Friday, guys? So make sure you're able to get down to Protective Stadium, or Regents Field, and check out the Barons as they take on the Chattanooga Lookouts at 7 p.m. I mean, I can't believe I can't believe it. It's baseball season is here, and it just feels like baseball weather. So I can't wait to after the Stallion season just be able to kick back and just relax all day for at the Regents Field, watching baseball all day. Something else I can't wait for is my next shipment from Blue Spring Living Water. Their naturally minerally infused water from a source in our own backyard in Blount County is so refreshing. So make sure you go to get it delivered right to your door as well, whether you're across the state or across the country. Hit the link in the description and take a step toward a healthier life with Blue Spring Living Water. And we're still talking about the great deals you can get at the GLD shop as well. You can still get 2 pendants and 2 chain sets made with real gold for less than $200. You can't beat it going to the regular jewelry store. So make sure you hit the link in the description and you can get a free chain with your qualifying purchase. Lastly, we have a new affiliate in Assurion. So if you have a large investment in your technology like I do, and like in my cameras, computers, and even household appliances, guys, hit the link in the description and to make sure you are protected with Assurion to be prepared for anything life throws at you. And like we said, the UFL kicked off this Saturday, and you really couldn't ask for a better matchup in any of the games. The talent and the passion we saw on the field this weekend is completely unbeatable. And we were in Arlington all weekend covering the festivities all the way up to kickoff. And before the opening ceremonies, Danny Garcia and CEO Russ Brandon discussed what this league is all about and what it means to be innovative. Check it out.
Sure. We're a league of innovation and technology. I always said we're not a league of gimmicks, we're a league of innovation. And we will continue to look at that through every single lens, both on and off the field. So the answer to your question is yes, we will continue to. The other thing that we're nimble. And we can look at things holistically and see what's best for our players and for our league and for our fans. And when you have an ownership group who's so involved in the process and understands every element of the process, it makes it a lot easier for us to react to how we're going to continue to innovate as we move forward.
And it's a principle. It's one of our founding principles. We apply it to, not only what happens on the field, but how are we interacting with our players? How are we interacting with our coaches? What is the content we're developing? How are we, disseminating that in new and innovative ways? So it's, at the end of the day, one of the things UFL should always, when people think of the UFL, spring football, and the dynamic play, that word innovation should always be there.
Yeah.
Then they were also asked about the combination of the talent in this league and if they were really able to concentrate that talent up to the level they had planned. And this was their response.
Usually you give the great answer. I'm going to say immediately yes. You know, obviously we had to go through a process of taking 16 teams down to 8 teams. And within that process, the drafting process we had in place that Rex can be more detailed about, you know, we've come away with talent that's just absolutely stellar. You'll see it in the play, you see it in the size, you see it in the conditioning. Each team, if you were to look historically to who they were last year versus this year, it's the difference is right there.
Yeah, I would echo those sentiments. We onboarded 600 athletes on February 22nd, and it was markedly different when you looked at the athletes that were entering the process, and then when you watch it on the field as well. Um, it really stands out to you. We have 400 athletes here now, and 315 of those athletes have signed an NFL contract. And when you look at the amount of athletes, I think we've had 107 of those athletes that were drafted in the NFL. And look at the collegiate experience and the coaching development here. I'm really excited to see the product on the field throughout the weekend and beyond. I think you'll see a market difference in the dynamic play from our athletes.
To follow up, they were asked their thoughts of the stability of the league, and this is what they had to say.
You know, I think there should always be leaders, even leadership,
Absolutely.
right? And we have an incredible partnership. We've got owners around the table who know the game and know how to build legacy and are experts. We have executive leadership that is just absolutely stellar. And you also have additional ownership who knows entertainment, right? Who knows how to get the product. So, you know, our deck is stacked. We know we've got work to do, but I have never been more confident because the pathway is clear. And we've got an incredible system set up. We've got a wonderful location. We've got an abundance of talent and more talent waiting to come. And, you know, the fans are responding. So our ticket sales have increased. They're going to continue to increase through the year. And those principles, those really important metrics are all in place and are improving. So from my opinion,
Yeah, I would say, you know, I say this often, being in the NFL as long as I was, I often say it all starts with ownership. And when you look at our ownership portfolio, when you have such power in Danny Garcia, Dwayne Johnson, Fox, Redbird Capital, Disney, that's a darn good start to what we're doing. And when you look at the legacy XFL of 2020, the pandemic obviously hit. They were doing very well, and that was super unfortunate, as we all know. The USFL was off to a solid start, a very good start for the last 2 years, and we had an excellent start last year. So putting this all together, I think the timing is right. We're building for long-term sustainable success. Quite honestly, I would not be here if we weren't taking that approach. So I truly believe that this league will be here well beyond my years.
They were then asked what their definition of success would be for the league this season, and they replied with this.
you know, I think we're probably going to have some similar point of views, but maybe a little bit different. I'm going to say that it's going to continue to build upon what we have here today, right? To have the success that we had, and then to continue development with our players. That we have to have dynamic play, to have our fans engaged in even a greater way, to have more fans. Right? We've got some new markets now with our USFL coming in. We're developing and growing. So we actually have a lot of metrics that go beyond just the performance on the field, with the performance on the field being one of the anchors, right? Our expectation is that you will see it today, and you will see it through all of broadcasts for the next 10 weeks plus. But that there is a lot of places that we're looking at, and it's going to be measured growth.
Yeah, absolutely. Really everything Danny said, from that standpoint, I've been asked this question numerous times, and it's everything from on the field, off the field, player engagement, fan engagement, our social and digital strategies, how we're presented on linear television, all the things that you know. I'm more excited about that. I've spent the last month planning 25 season and how we're laying out the future of this league, how we're a 365-day operation, how we're going to activate in the non-season. So those are very exciting pillars for our team to work on, and we've been working on that for the last few months.
When asked about providing opportunities for players who were unable to make it into the NFL, this is what they had to say.
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, when you go to, I do this circle pretty much every day and go to practices and see these young men that are chasing their dream or continuing to play. So we are a standalone professional league, and that's what the UFL stands for, to unlock and unleash the opportunities for these young men. One of the things that has been thrilling for me personally is to tell Danny that we just lost our head of strength and conditioning, Zach Woodfin, to become the head of strength and conditioning for the Tennessee Titans. And that's a thrilling opportunity for it. It's not just about all the athletes on the field, it's about our officials. We had 6 officials get promoted to the NFL. People in social media are training not only to the NFL, but to other dreams that they're looking to achieve in their life, and this league provides that. And for me personally, it's very fulfilling to see people in our organization continue to thrive.
So we continue, this past year we did our HBCU combines, which were fantastic. I was so happy to see one of my players from that combine that we specifically offered. We will continue to be not only casting the widest net when we're looking at where talent should be or maybe is not being addressed, we do the same thing for our organization. That, and I'm glad you asked that question, because that, very similar to the innovation question, is one of our specific pillars that people should think about when they think of the UFL. That's how important it is to us. I mean, if you look at ownership, look at myself. Right? I'm not the 54th man. I'm the 120th woman. So, that energy and that pathway to say, where can greatness lie and how do we unleash it? That's who we are. So thank you for that.
And then there was the game. What can I say? That had to be one of the most impressive games I have ever seen live in my life. But I have to admit, I kind of thought the front office of the league was being a bit hyperbolic at first when they said that they had the highest and most elite concentration of talent in this league. But of course, I was proven wrong right off the bat when the Stallions rode into Choctaw Stadium to take on the 2023 XFL champions, the Arlington Renegades. In the first quarter, we saw a huge defensive matchups on both sides, where we had turnovers by both teams, including Carlos Davis forcing a Luis Perez fumble that was picked up by Mark Gilbert. A Matt Corral interception, but Deion Kane, the intended receiver, was able to make the tackle before Darren Evans was able to advance it. While Arlington finally got on the board by scoring a 38-yard field goal. The Stallions got the ball back and were able to move the ball down the field, primarily thanks to some massive carries by CJ Marable when the time ran out in the first. On to the second quarter, where Birmingham got down to the 3-yard line with more CJ Marable carries. However, due to some apparent miscommunication, they were backed up to the 8-yard line. Subsequently, having to settle with a game-tying field goal off the foot of Chris Blewett, who is replacing the 2023 NFL Pro Bowler Brandon Aubrey. The tie didn't last long as Luis Perez made a long pass down the field to Isaiah Winstead for a 51-yard touchdown reception. The Stallions answered by moving the ball down the field, this time with Adrian Martinez behind center, who was able to show off his running ability a bit. However, eventually got intercepted by Deron Lowe. After a quick first down, the Renegades eventually went 3-and-out in the drive, and the Stallions defense forced a punt inside the 2-minute warning. After a sack and a short catch by Marlon Williams, Martinez tried running down the middle for a 20-yard gain. However, he was injured on the play and had to be taken out. With Matt Corral back under center, he was able to move the ball down the field before sending a 39-yard touchdown reception to Deion Kane. Ricky Person was able to get the 2-point conversion to tie the game at 11 right before the half. In the third quarter, the Stallions and the Renegades both wound up taking turns getting stops on defense, forcing punts, before C.J. Marable moved the ball down the field before a touchdown scamper by Ricky Person. And we've got a picture on the page where CJ is actually celebrating with Ricky in the end zone there. So make sure you guys check that out because that's a really cool picture to see how Ricky's actually advanced to so much in this offseason. But the Renegades answered by moving the ball down the field before settling for a 45-yard field goal thanks to a major defensive stop. On the ensuing kickoff, Deion Kane, who had 2 games last season with kick returns for touchdowns, wound up returning it to midfield this time to start the fourth quarter. With some major plays by C.J. Marable, Ricky Person, and Benjamin Victor, it set up a C.J. rushing touchdown with a pass to Amari Rogers for the 2-point conversion. Luis Perez and the Renegades wound up moving it down the field before getting picked off by Mark Gilbert on a deep pass into the 5-yard line. The Stallions set up a long drive, primarily utilizing CJ and Ricky Persons to move the ball down the field, running the clock down before a failed 53-yard field goal attempt by Chris Blewett with 27 seconds left in the game. The Renegades tried moving the ball and got it down the field pretty good, but with such limited time on the clock, it was just too late for them to get anything going before the game ended. Overall, it was a physical game and eventually won in the trenches, with Birmingham rushing for 171 yards. And C.J. Marable, Adrian Martinez, and Ricky Person, all 3 having more yards than Arlington's leading rusher, Letty Brown. Matt Corral also threw for over 200 yards on Saturday. And the Stallions lead now in all stats except average yards per carry, total kick return yards, even with the 50-yard return by Deion Kane, average yards per return, and penalty yardage. The rushing yards are massively contributed to C.J. Marable, who had 67 yards on Saturday, Adrian Martinez, who had 52 yards, and Ricky Person, who had 31. And it was always good to see the horsemen who made it out there to Arlington for the game as well. And we had a little fun hanging out with those guys this weekend. So they always show up and show out for the Stallions during game day. We also heard that there was close to 200 people at Back 40 on Saturday near Sloss Furnace at the watch party. Shout out to our buddies Brett and Boomer for making it out there on Saturday. We'll be out there with coverage on Sunday for the game in Detroit as the Stallions face the Michigan Panthers. So make sure you guys swing by and say hey. We're going to be out there chilling out, watching the game, and we're going to have coverage on it as well. There were also a lot of great games this weekend. After the Stallions game in Arlington, we got to see an intense battle between the Michigan Panthers and the St. Louis Battlehawks. This one was so close, and it came down to a record-setting 64-yard field goal in the final seconds of the game. And then we got to see the Brahmas, who took on the Defenders on Sunday. And it did not disappoint. We got to see Coach Phillips make a major move by turning a play that was originally a touchdown for DC into a loss of 20 yards. And due to a personal foul penalty and the super challenge that was able to bring up a false start for the total of 20 penalty yards on that play. The drive eventually ended in an interception, and San Antonio wound up winning the game by 15. But that just goes to show that these rules can change the game around in an instant. Lastly, we saw Coach Flip and his new quarterback and his new team. His new quarterback is former Philadelphia star quarterback Case Cookus. And they took on the Roughnecks in Houston. This is a really fun game to watch as well because Memphis is looking scary good. But with Coach Flip, I wouldn't expect anything less. We get to see those guys in 2 weeks at the home opener at Protective Stadium. And yesterday, we had the chance to talk with Coach Holtz. And he was able to give us a little bit of an update on Adrian Martinez. He mentioned that he's still dealing with that foot injury that took him out of the game on Saturday. But he was not ruled out. That he was actually able to. They're actually wanting to see how he's able to do in practice this week and see what he's able to do. But he doesn't want to push him too far and wind up causing a more severe injury. So they're going to see how he does this week to determine what he's able to do on Sunday. Sorry. We also asked about the Stallions' ability to run the ball on Saturday, and Coach Holtz was mentioned that there was a 3-tiered reason why that was. First being having 2 really good strong backs in C.J. Marable and Ricky Person. And the second factor was that the offensive line is much more talented than in previous years, being able to block up front and make holes for these guys to run through. But he said the major reason is having the opponent having to keep in the back of their heads about having 2 quarterbacks that can really just pull the ball back in and just take off at any moment. I mean, Adrian Martinez had 52 yards rushing this past game and didn't even play a full quarter. But Coach also gave high praise to Coach Nolan and the Michigan Panthers, talking about how quickly and efficiently he can make adjustments. He reinforced something that he's been saying all preseason, that there are no preconceived notions on any of the teams based upon what happened last season, because not only is this not the same league as last season, these are not the same teams that we played last season. But we will have to see how things match up against the Michigan Panthers on Saturday. But we will be at Back 40, so make sure you guys come hang out with us. And our friends in the Horsemen are going to be there as well. But we can't wait to see you guys there. But for this week, make sure you guys hit like, share, and follow us on all of our social channels. My name is Ryan Messer, and we'll see you guys on Saturday.